Who wants to have a company that makes $10 million but has 2,500 employees? I had that in Venezuela. I can tell you, okay, 2,500 employees is a lot to handle, okay? Now, what if I tell you that you can make the same $10 million with only 5 people in the company? Which company would you prefer to have?
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today, I'm here with Vanessa Alfaro. I hope I got that right. I tried. Vanessa is a successful entrepreneur, real estate investor, and AI innovator. As the founder of Venus Capital, a woman and minority-owned real estate investment firm, she has led the company to manage $50 million in assets over 3 years. So, Vanessa, there's a ton of impressive stuff just in your bio, but I want to let you tell that story in your own words. So first, I'll just say thank you for coming on the show today. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm really excited to talk.
Thank you. I'm very excited to talk to you too. I love your podcast. I love the Know Your Why idea. And so I'm Vanessa Alfaro. You got it right. I'm
Good.
originally from Venezuela, so my first language is Spanish. I've been here for more than a decade in the US. And I have Venus Capital Partner, which is the real estate syndication company. It's a private equity firm focused on technology and innovation in order to create the best and to use the technology in a way that we produce the best results for our investors, right? And I also have another company with my husband. It's a production and publishing company in the automotive sector that is just focused to the Hispanic market. So it's very niche. And before that, I created a few other companies in Venezuela and 2 others in Panama. So I have been an entrepreneur forever by heart since I'm 22 years old. I live entrepreneurship. I talk to my kids about entrepreneurship all the time. Um, uh, that's who I am. So I'm always looking to do new things and that's what I love about real estate, that actually every property is kind of a new thing for me, right? So it's kind of a new property that we have to go and execute since the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So and I have been an entrepreneur in my life, so that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. No, like I said, really an impressive group of accomplishments. I'm very happy to talk about business and real estate, whatever of those things you want to talk about. I mean, before we started recording, I think we'll certainly spend some time talking about family as well. But I wanted to kind of start. Let's talk about, I guess, your real estate business first. What is the focus? What, sort of asset class? What kind of? I know you said it's a syndication company. What is your focus there with Venus Capital?
Well, first of all, thank you for mentioning about my family. My family is my biggest and best accomplishment company that I have.
Yeah.
It's another company that I run. It's my whole family, and it's the biggest success and the most fulfilled for me too. But on real estate, so Venus Capital focus on acquire multifamily deals, large multifamily properties. And when I say large, I say anything between 100 to 250 units. That's like where we has been staying in that range for the last 2 years. And for the last 2 years, our main focus has been on how to improve all the processes and all the systems in our company in order to get a competitive advantage in an industry that is usually very old-fashioned and is usually very square on the way doing things. Okay, So most of the time you see real estate as an industry that is very traditional, and people, they just don't think out of the box. Okay? And that's one of the things that I like, because I come from creative marketing companies. So I'm coming from marketing, and that out of the box thinking all the time. I want to make sure that we innovate in our company, but we do what I call a strategic innovation. So we innovate in a way that is creating results to our investors and to the company itself, because innovation, you can innovate and innovate and innovate until you're broke and you're not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
So we take an approach of a strategic innovation.
Yeah. No, I think it sounds sort of like it would be common sense, but I think you're right. There's a lot of innovation that happens almost for the sake of innovation. It's like, this is this cool thing we can do, but
Mm-hmm.
realistically, when you're looking at it from a business perspective, which real estate is, running a syndication company, operating a multifamily asset, it is in and of itself a business. And so you're the implementation of innovation, it's useless if it doesn't actually increase revenue,
Bring your
decrease
result,
expenses,
right?
and produce results for your
Yeah.
investors. What kind of things have you found to be useful to use? If you maybe give us a few examples. I know you listed in your bio AI innovator, so I'm sure I completely agree. There's a lot of antiquated stuff in the real estate industry, and people are trying to come out with solutions and implement them. But I'm very interested to see what you've used and had success with, and kind of where you've taken that.
Well, we can spend hours and hours talking about that, but
Yeah, I'm
let me
sure.
give you a few examples.
Yeah.
One of the things that we focus is in tools and AIs that are actually giving us a measurable way for us to know that we're saving time. Okay? So we are more productive with the time that we have. One of the goals that I have is actually to be probably the most profitable company, okay, to be the most profitable company in real estate, but also with the less amount of human people working in the company. Okay. If
Yeah.
I ask you or anybody that is an entrepreneur that is listening to this podcast, who wants to have a company that makes $10 million but has 2,500 employees? I had that in Venezuela. I can tell you, okay, 2,500 employees is a lot to handle. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what if I tell you that you can make the same $10 million with only 5 people in the company? Which company would you prefer to have? Right?
Yeah.
So my goal as a visionary of the company is to actually create the most profitable company, but with less people. Okay. So with growth in income, with growth in services that we offer to our investors, but we don't have to actually have a huge amount of payroll, or we don't have to have a huge office with 50 employees. And I like the freedom that everybody has to work from home and the whole thing. Now, we focus on AIs that either create productivity for us, okay, and save us time, okay, or in AIs where we can replace some of the human brain for technology. And let me give you an example. If we're talking about productivity, with our acquisition team, we're using an AI-based underwriting tool. What does that mean? Okay, that means that we can use AI to transfer information, okay, from T12, rent roll, okay, market data. We can use AI to have all that information for us without a human going and actually entering that data. Okay. Now, if AI can do that for us, okay, our acquisition team can save time. Okay. And when they
Mhm.
save time, we can do and see more deals, okay, in the same time that someone can see probably or underwrite 50% of those deals. Okay. So that is one of the things that we focus, and we need to be able to measure that. Okay. So how many deals we can underwrite? Is this really helping us to save time, or is this really slowing us down? So that is one productivity tool that we use, for example, in our acquisition. Now, on the, let's say, replacing the human brain with technology. And I'm going to give you, because I don't want people that is listening here to think that it sounds awful. No, I want to give you a very simple example. Imagine that you have to do right now a calculation, and I tell you, hey, let's say how much it is, $1,503,000 multiplied by 3, right? Would you use your human brain right now and start writing down that and take 10 minutes using that calculation, or will you use a calculator or your phone or the computer? You will definitely use your computer or your phone or a calculator, because you know that you don't want to spend your human brain and your time doing something that a computer can do better than you. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I'm
Well,
laughing because I mean, when I was in school, the mantra was, you know, you're not going to have, you need to know how to do this stuff because you'll never have a machine that can do it for you. And it's like, we sure do. We sure have, right? Exactly. Like most of us have that machine in our hands, and it's just kind of a funny,
right.
funny thing to
We
think
don't.
back. But yeah.
We take this everywhere.
Mhm.
Everywhere. We get
Yeah.
anxiety if we stop seeing our phone in some way or
Yeah.
another. So
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen to our kids? So when we were in school, people will say, well, don't use a calculator for this. Do you think that there is a regulation for calculator right now for high schoolers or in college? There is no,
Yeah.
because there is no point to regulate calculators right now.
Right.
But at that point it was. What do you think is going to happen to our kids? Because right now we have the phone, but at one point we will have a neural link put in our head. At one point we have an Apple Watch here. We
Yeah.
have Apple Watch. It's with us all the time. So for our kids, they will have access to the whole world database. Like there is no way that a human brain can have access to all the data that AI has.
Yeah.
So it will be kind of a calculator. And at that point, you will have to decide, it is really worth my time to do this formula right now. 1 million, blah, 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 multiplied by 3. Would I want to spend 15 minutes? Or I just want to use a calculator and then talk to you about how are we going to make this happen? How are we going to multiply this income by 3? So those are the things that we are working right now. Is like, what is that our human brain is not doing better than AI? And we found many things, and we keep implementing those things. But one of those things that we found is that right now, and there are found about 2 or 3 companies that are specializing in AI leasing apartments. So it's a whole system, it's a whole AI-based CRM that is able to track the list of people that wants to rent the apartment. It's able to make a phone call. It's able to actually have a human-like conversation with the potential renter of that apartment. It's able to book an appointment to come and tour the apartment. It's able to give all the information because it's connected to the system that knows what apartment is available, what apartment is not available, and is able to actually follow up with that lead if the lead is not showing up. Now, think about all the time that a human is saving on that task when the person is just going to show up at the door and do the tour. And now the human is going to close on that lead, right? So all these things that are going to save time to our people is also going to come back to our investors in money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's, you know, we're in a time where AI gets talked about a lot, and it's kind of this vague concept to most people in the sense that, like, there's a certain subset of people that are actually going to create the code and have, you know, kind of developing the AI systems. But I think what is really smart about what you're doing, and really where people worry about, you know, AI taking jobs, what you need to be able to do is figure out how how to implement the AI in your business, your life, whatever it is, or one step up, figure out how to create a product that implements that AI and then sell it to other people. Because we have AI available now. We've had it available for a long time. We maybe didn't know, so we didn't talk about it so much, but we've had it available. But the future, I think, is in finding the right ways to implement it and integrate it into everything that we're already doing. And I think that's like the biggest opportunities.
Why do you think we didn't talk about it 5 years ago?
I don't know, actually. Like, I don't know the answer to that question.
I'm going to give you a hint. Because it was not available to us, regular people like you and me,
Yeah.
smaller entrepreneurs. It was available to Netflix because Netflix uses AI in order to tell us what we want to watch.
Yeah.
It was available to Amazon because Amazon uses AI. It was available to Facebook. It was available to all these larger corporations, but it was not available to us. So those larger corporations they were using AI to us all the time. Alexa is AI, Siri is AI, but it was not available to us. So we couldn't go on the computer and just like, okay, let me use AI. Let me get AI to help me. That didn't exist. But what happened is kind of what happened with the internet. At one point, the internet exists. And then I don't know if you remember, I'm old, so I used to go on the computer, okay, and then you have to go into a folder, and then you have to click, and then you have to call, okay, and it was like beep 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 beep, okay, and you use the phone line, and who created that was AOL, okay. AOL created a bridge. They didn't create the internet. They created a bridge for us to access the internet. Okay. And that's when everything exploded. So what ChatGPT did, OpenAI, what they did is they created that bridge and they opened that to everybody. And now for $20, you can have AI. And not only that, but if you have an API, anybody can connect to that API and they can create a new product on AI. And now everybody's able to create a new AI. And now the technology, this is the interesting thing about technology. Every time, every minute, every week, the technology gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah.
Because there is more competition. So you're going to have access to more technology like this phone, and it's going to be cheaper. Before you have do you remember the phones before? Or like huge block, thin, super expensive, like $10,000. It was like, oh my God, you have a phone. It's a big box. It's getting smaller and cheaper and better. Okay. Computers, everything. So that's what's happening with technology and with AI. And now everybody has access to that. Now you can see the potential of all the things that you can do with your company. So a small company with 5 people is able to compete with another company that has 50 people. And I think it's going to break that company because you can maintain 50 people in a payroll if you can do the same with 5 and technology.
Right. Yeah.
How can you compete at that point?
Yeah. No, it's a great point. And what you said about sort of AOL creating that bridge and now ChatGPT doing the same thing, that's like a perfect description because you're right. Like AI was being used on us. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it was being used on us by those big companies in order to, sort of evaluate, our habits, our
Behavior.
tendencies, the products we wanted, that kind of thing. And then ChatGPT came out, and it was like suddenly anyone, if you knew how to ask the right questions, could virtually find all the same information. And I think that's kind of what my point is. Like the tricky part, and it's getting easier, but the trick with ChatGPT is the prompts, right? You need to ask the question in the right way for it to understand what you're asking and give you back the answers in the way that you're looking for. It's really know, like people, I've talked to people who are good at making prompts, and I'm like, that is a service I would pay for. Like that is like being able to implement it, you know. So that's my whole thing, is like people can see this as a huge, they can be afraid that AI is going to take away jobs, or you can say it's going to shift jobs to people who can implement the technology at whatever level it needs to be. And that's where I think
Right.
you like it's here, it's coming, it's only going to get
It's not
stronger.
going
So
anywhere.
yeah, you probably want to figure out how to use it so that you know, to your advantage. So it's just kind
I
of,
can give you
especially in business.
I can give you a couple of tricks there, okay, if you like, for your audience as well
Yeah.
about the prompts. Okay, when we're talking about prompts, uh, one thing that you could do if you're starting with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or any of the AIs that exist, Copilot, is to tell the what is the outcome, to tell the AI what is the outcome that you want, and to write for you the perfect prompt for that outcome.
It's a good idea.
So you can actually ask the AI to give you the perfect prompt, okay, for that outcome, and the AI is going to give it to you, right? Now, the other thing that I always tell people is that AI is not a magician, okay? AI is not reading your thoughts. Okay? So I always give this example. When you're talking to AI, you have to talk to AI like you are talking to a human. So let me give you a quick example. Do you want AI to write a book? Would I go to you, Jason, and say, hey, Jason, write me a book?
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, because then you're
Yeah.
going to come with a book and you're going to say, here's your book. I gave you 10 recipes about how to cook chicken. And I would be like, that's not what I want. This is really bad. I wanted a book about real estate. And then you're going to come and say, okay, here's your real estate. How do you buy Airbnb? So like, that's not what I want. What I
Yeah.
want is, how do I buy multifamily? So with a human, you have to be specific. You have to tell them, hey, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, so you have to do the same with AI, and it's always help when you ask AI to take a specific character, like you are a CEO, or you are a private equity firm, or you are a doctor, and in this scenario you are X, Y, and Z. Okay, so I use AI in my life for many things. I teach my kids about AI. Okay, I encourage my kids to use AI. I am not a person that leave my kids technology free all the time. I am
Yeah.
very regulated with technology, very much. My son is 11. He does not have an iPhone, and he knows he's not going to have an iPhone until he's 18, and he cries to me all the time.
Yeah.
But that's set in stone. But he's able to use AI, and he's writing in AI. And I think that the most important thing now, because AI is going to be everywhere and everybody's going to use AI, but in this transition, I think it's important is transparency and trust. Okay,
Yeah.
people is overusing AI, and people don't like to feel like, oh, you didn't write this, it was right actually by the AI. So I think transparency and trust is important, and one of the things I encourage my son is like, let's do this into AI, and then he put a paragraph to the teacher. I did this with AI under my mom's supervision, so if you have a problem, talk to my mom. For
Yeah.
example.
That's a good idea. Cover it, you know, cover it so the kids don't get in trouble but for using it. But yeah, it's, I mean, it it would be silly to restrict kids from like knowing how to use it, because it's going to be a part of their lives. Like it's
They
only,
know.
you know, you said before that technology is getting less and less expensive by the day. It's also getting better by the day. Like the speed of technology improvements have been exponential in like what I've seen just in my life. It's, you know, you showed the iPhone, like everybody has this, and or some sort of smartphone. the iPhone came out in 2007. Like, it hasn't actually been that long. And yet many of us would not have the ability to conduct our business the way that we do without it. Like, and so to suggest that, our kids, again, it's like, I don't want my kids to have it just to be watching, videos or be on social media or whatever. But to suggest that this will not be a part of their life, and probably in ways that we don't know yet, really, like more and more technology is going to come, and it's just something that I think is, it requires us as parents, if you're a parent,
Right.
but whether that's educators or mentors or just people to be conscious of how we integrate, but that it is going to be a part of life. Like, it's not, there's no sense trying to argue that or
A
fight it.
hundred
Like, it's
percent.
going to be a part of our lives. It
A
already is,
hundred
and
percent.
it's going to become more and more prominent. So
A
I,
hundred
I think
percent.
just recognizing that, and I think, you know on that note, we both have kids. You have more than me, which I sometimes think that my two is a lot. You have 5 children, and I want to talk about how you do it. Like, how do you balance being a real estate investor, an entrepreneur, and a mother of 5 children? Like, and again, I guess the number doesn't necessarily matter, right? Like, it's you're being a
It does
parent.
matter. It does matter.
Yeah.
It's more expensive to have five
Right.
than one.
Well, yes. Yeah, there's more more mouths to feed, if you will. But how do you balance that? Because I think, most people um, most people think outside of the entrepreneur world. I think, well, like, probably just work all the time and don't see your kids. But I I know from my experience, and I can tell just from the even before we started recording, like, that is not the case for either of us. That is not the point of entrepreneurship, to be away from them. So I wondered if you could kind of talk about how you balance that, and what, kind of what it all means to you in terms of, how you see family.
Right, right. And I want to start saying that to every woman that is listening to this podcast, uh, I want them to know that I'm not special, and I am not a superwoman or anything like that. Okay? I am the same that any other woman that has a work or a job or business and have kids. And the reality is that I believe that we as a woman can have it all. It's just not at the same time. We can have it all, but not at the same time. What does that mean? I can carry a child for 9 months, but I cannot be jumping in a trampoline at the same time, right? I can carry the child, my husband can jump in the trampoline. So when we talk about balance, it's very important that we understand that balance, in my case and in my perspective, is not something that gets balanced every day at the same level.
Yeah.
Sometimes, okay, I am more here and working. Sometimes I am more here with my kids. Sometimes I am more here with my husband. But what I want to see is in overall, I am balanced. Overall, okay, I am spending the time with my kids that I want to. So I manage my house like another business, right? I always say if you are a mom and you're a stay home mom, okay, um, you are a business person. You're managing a
Oh,
house,
yeah.
you're
100%.
managing
Yeah.
employees, okay, just like you pay them, okay, and you don't get anything back for those small employees that are your kids, okay. Things like that.
They
Then
don't
you
listen very
manage,
well either.
they
They're
don't,
not very
yeah.
compliant.
They don't listen to you, but you have to pay insurance and you have to give the money and everything. Then you have a partner that sometimes you have to agree and disagree. And then you have to have a lot of emotional, a lot of emotional intelligence in order to manage all these people. As a woman, this is huge. Like the amount of emotional intelligence that we need to have in order to manage our husbands and our kids, okay, and not get crazy and also get a job is really, really important. So I think that balance is something that happens not every day at the same way. And I do, as I said, this is a business for me in another way. I have a budget. I have money that we have spent. I have the kids that I have to manage. I have a housekeeper that do things for me. I have house manager. Okay, I do have a nanny as well. Okay, like for example, today, one of the things that I don't negotiate. This is a very good example. One of the things that I don't like to negotiate is to pick up my kids from school. I do not have to pick up my kids from school. I don't have to. I can pay someone else to do it for me, but I want to because I want them to see me when I am there and they get super excited. That's something that makes me happy as a mom. So I schedule all my time, my meetings, everything that I have to do in my business in a way that I do have my goal time, which is I want to go and pick up my kids. And today I'm not doing that because I'm having 5 podcasts, one after the other. But I'm doing that, okay, just today. So today I'm not picking up my kids. So I'm giving up on that, okay, which I'm having a great conversation to you. And I hope that this is offering value to other women as well and other people. So we need to have grace as well to ourselves. Grace to ourselves with the things that we do. Okay. While I was carrying my twins, okay, as well, I was carrying my twins. I actually, when I was 5 months, I fell, okay, and I had to go to the hospital. Okay. So I broke my foot. Okay. So I had a cast. Thanks God, nothing happened to the baby, but I had to go to the hospital. They were going to do a surgery. I said no. So they put me on a cast, and I was in bed rest for 2 months with my twins. Okay. And at that point, I had to be in bed rest. I was working from bed because I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't take care of my other kids. My husband was taking care of my kids. So at that point, I have to in some way slow down. I couldn't travel. Okay, I was in the middle of closing one deal, but I wasn't not able to travel. Okay, so my priority at that point was like, I need to make sure that I'm okay. I might carry these babies until 37 weeks and they're healthy and they're good to be good when they survive. Okay. So that things is like, and sometimes, okay, you decide to do more here and more there. And probably I'm not going to be the fastest growing company because I do have this, that is my priority. Okay. But I'm going to go there. I'm going to be there one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. So many great points. That work-life balance, you said it's not a straight line every day. It's just keeping focus on what is most important, and it's the little things. It's like picking the kids up from school. It's being there at dinner. Being there for sporting events or whatever. It's figuring out what the important stuff is, and then you mentioned you have help. You have hired, like, you have a house cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you like cleaning, you shouldn't be cleaning. Like, there's no, like, you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, like, that is not a good use of your time. People talk about this stuff. They talk about, like, grocery shopping or whatever, like cooking. Like, if you don't like to cook, don't cook. Order food or have someone make, like, if you're building a business, it's and the business can and likely will include family business. You have to look at it very closely, and really run it as a business, like you mentioned. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've had this discussion with my wife when I started to get more into real estate investing, became more entrepreneurial, and it was like, there'd be stuff that would come up, and I was like, I think we like have to put everything on the schedule. And I know that doesn't sound, it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
sound like appealing at first, like you're going to schedule your whole life. But
Oh, we do. Yeah,
right,
my
but like
husband and I do that.
now, yeah, now we do, and that's what makes it work. Because if you're if you don't have those systems in place, even at the family level, you'll miss more. You'll miss
Mm-hmm.
more because you're like always just chasing your tail, trying to get one thing done or another thing. But if you have all of your time dedicated, including personal time to take care of yourself, if you like to, exercise, or you want to get a massage or what, like all of that stuff, and family time, date nights, times where you take the kids, things like all that stuff, getting it on the schedule, like
It's
like
important.
really
Mm-hmm.
saves. I think it has in a lot of ways like helped our relationship just with my wife be better, and it gives me the ability to be more present, because I know, like, this is my time I have to get work done. And
Mm-hmm.
at dinner, we're going to have dinner together, like, and that's
Right?
what we're going to do. And it's like, it's always going to be a thing here and there that pops up, that like, kids home from school sick, I probably don't get as much work done that day. Like, there are things that
100%.
happen. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are, it's that, I guess,
As
that
as
80/20
more
rule, right?
as more scheduled you are, more flexibility you have.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's exactly what I was getting at. That's
it
very well
sounds
put. It's
counterintuitive, but
yeah,
it's true. As more
yeah,
scheduled you are, as more time you have, and when you have something that as a parent is always happen, that one day your kids are sick and everything's thrown out of the window, right?
yeah.
But if you're scheduled, you're able to catch up better and organize better
Mhm.
yourself. And
Yeah,
one important thing that you mentioned about your house is like, yes, manage your house as your business as well. And if you are in a business and you have to decide where your time is worth it, where your
mhm,
time is worth it. If you have 4 hours and you have to decide where your time is worth it, you have to pick and choose what is the best use of your time. Is that
yeah,
spending time with your kids? Is that taking them to an activity? Is that playing with them? Or is that cooking and cleaning and doing laundry? Okay. And if you do have the ability to hire someone for a few hours to remove those hours from you, if you do it in your business, why you wouldn't do it in your house?
yeah. No, it's people always talk about, sort of the high dollar value, high per hour value to activities and stuff like that. And it's like, yes, we all have to make money to pay the bills, but like the highest value activity I have is being with my family. And it's so, I don't know what the dollar amount of that is, but it's like, so what I need to do is make sure that my other hours are
It
filled
doesn't
with
have a price.
higher value things, because, or higher dollar things, because the value time is with family. And it's like this is just a silly example, but even just so yesterday, uh there was like a back to school thing for my son, and so he and my wife went. I stayed home with my daughter. We took a walk together. Like, not like it, you don't often get to spend like one-on-one time with them, and we did that. But then my son got home and he was like, he's like, Daddy, can we play baseball? I'm like, well, bud, it's time to, get ready for bed, and it's late already. You have this thing. And he was like, oh, but I really want to play some baseball. And I was like, okay, so we will play baseball tomorrow. Like, in my mind, on my schedule today, like, he gets home at 2:45. We're playing baseball when he gets home, because I'm setting that little window to make sure that I
Mm-hmm.
get to spend that time with him. And it's like, that's the stuff, like, if I just didn't if I just like was kind of always
You
trying to
wouldn't
catch
know.
up, I wouldn't be able to say that to him, like, we'll do that tomorrow. I'd be like, well, I might be working, I don't know. So
That's a
it's
very good point. I explain that to my kids, okay, and I show them, like for example, for my 11 years old, he's like, "Oh, let's go and do this." I was like, I can't do this right now. I want to have my schedule, okay, and my schedule is full today. Okay, we can schedule that for tomorrow. Okay? So he understands how my calendar works as well. Okay, and I do have like I as you know, I have 4 small kids, so it range from 11 to 11, 5, and the twins are 3 years old. So they all now have different activities, and we want them to explore new things to also achieve their own potential. So I want to be there for that. So for me, it's important they understand the schedule. My schedule, one thing that I do is that I manage my calendar in 4 or 5 different colors. Okay.
Mhm.
So I use the yellow, which is my goal time. Are the things that, as you say, doesn't have a price. Like spending time with your kids, there is no price for that. Like letting them smile, like making them happy, spending a one-to-one with your
Yeah.
wife, that doesn't have a price. That's why it's gold. And then I manage into green, light green, brown, and red. Okay. So and that way I know how much I am spending in things that are actually producing money to the company and actually producing fulfillment to me, which is
Right.
my goal, and my dark green. So that's kind of a way that you can see. And we schedule everything. We schedule our date nights, the activities with the kids, everything that we have to do with the kids, even during the weekend. We schedule one-to-one time with them as well.
Mhm.
So I have a one-to-one 2 or 3 hours window that I do every 3 months with my kids. So we put that in the calendar as well. So it's you probably sounds very structured for some people, okay? But I can tell you that after you do it, you actually have more flexibility
Yeah.
to just out
Yeah.
of the blue, okay, doing things.
Yeah. I could not agree more. It was the scheduling, the like very rigid scheduling started as a almost like a necessity for me to just make sure I got everything done. But like what that led to is I was scheduling work in whatever capacity that meant, but not like the family part of it. And so, like I said, it took a little while to sort of get my wife to come around, but now it's
Have
like,
you read Have you read this book, Buy Back Your Time?
uh funny enough, it's on, like, it's in my pile, like it's on the list of things to
It's
read
a
next. But
great book. It's a
yeah,
great book.
yeah,
And he talks about that. And actually, Dan Martell, who is the author of this book, he says, show me your calendar and I will tell you who you are. Okay.
yeah,
Show me your
yeah,
calendar. If you don't have a schedule in your calendar, your family is the most important thing for you. You don't have it in your calendar. Okay. So whatever you have in your calendar that is filling your calendar is actually the most important thing for you. And my husband is an entrepreneur too. And it took a while for him to also understand, but that's how we manage our traveling as well, because he travels and I travel. I'm going to speak to an event. And I have a story about that because you mentioned your daughter. How do we empower our daughters to actually believe that they can achieve things and do things? I have a story for you. But anyhow, we schedule also travel, so we know we don't travel together. Okay. I mean, if he travel, I'm staying home with the kids. If I travel,
yeah,
he stay home. So that's a way that we manage to be both an entrepreneurs and also have 5 kids.
yeah, yeah. It's so important. I mean, it took some time to get it kind of dialed in, and we're always constantly tweaking it, but it is now, it's just kind of part. And I think it teaches the kids, it teaches the kids good time management. It's like, oh, okay, we do, even on their scales, like, you do your homework when you get home, we got to do our reading, like, you do those things, then you can have 30 minutes of TV, whatever. Like, it's just all that stuff is it just teaches them how to be, I think it does, it sounds rigid, but it actually creates more freedom, I think, for all of us, like involved. So
Right.
it's been such a key thing. um Vanessa, I mean, we could go on about this forever, but I want to I want to make sure I have time to ask you the questions that I ask every guest. And the first one, I have a feeling where you'll go with this, but I always ask everyone, what is your why? You know, what's driving? You've already had a ton of success. What kind of keeps you motivated?
That's interesting. And I bet that you're going to think it is my family, but
I
it's
would think it's
actually
part of
not.
it.
It's actually not because I, as an entrepreneur, okay, and my personality, I am a driver. I am a go-getter. Okay. I am someone that I just need to be growing all the time, and I will be extremely bored if I don't do this. Okay. And I actually went to business school, but I started in physics because I wanted to be an astrophysicist. And in quantum physics, they teach you you expand or you retract. So you grow or you die. And I believe that I cannot stop growing. I can't stop making a business, working, doing this, achieving things, because it's what drives me. My motor is that I just want to do it because it's part of me. And when my kids ask me, this is a very important thing. That's my kids ask me, why do you work? Why do you do this? Why you're doing real estate? I always tell my kids that I do it because I want to, because I like it, because it makes me happy. And I want them to know that they can do whatever they makes them happy, they're fulfilled. So I don't I do a lot of things for my kids, of course. I want my kids to be to learn. Okay. I want my kids to be entrepreneur. I want my kids to make money and be financially free. Okay? I don't want to make my kids rich. I want them to be rich by
Yep.
themselves, right?
Yep.
But I don't want them to feel guilty that I'm working because of them. I am doing this business because of them. Because it's the reality is not. I do it because I love it. I can't live without this, and I will be doing this hopefully for the rest of my life. So I want them to know, and my daughter, okay, I want her to know that she can do whatever she is happy to do. And I believe that my kids are going to be okay. If I teach them right, okay, they will make money themselves. They will be successful in whatever they do. Okay. I just have
Yeah.
to give them these basics.
Yeah. No,
Is that the
that's
answer
great.
that you expected?
It's not exactly what I expected, but I love it. It is. I I've heard people. One of my mentors, business coaches, he would say, you know, a lot of people say that their why is their family, but your family didn't ask you to be this way. Your family didn't ask you to be an entrepreneur. They just want you around. And so I think that that yes, we do this. If it wasn't something that we were passionate about, it
We
wouldn't
wouldn't
make
do
any
it.
sense, because
We wouldn't
it's
do it.
really hard some days. Like there are much easier paths than being an entrepreneur and a real
And
estate investor.
if you ask your kids, okay, if you ask your kids, they will tell you just come here and play with me all day. So
Yep.
if you want to do it for your
Yeah.
kids, just play with your kids all
Right.
day. But that's not why. And when I go and I travel, and when I go and I speak at an event or I have to go to a conference, I have a conversation with my kids because they ask me, why are you traveling? Why do you have to
Yeah.
go? And I try to go on the why of the things. And the why is not them. I'm not traveling because I'm making money for you and pay your college.
Right.
No, I am traveling because I am learning. I am traveling because I'm going to school. I am traveling because I am teaching. I am traveling because I'm coaching. I'm traveling because I'm teaching people. I'm traveling because I want to learn. I want to do this. I want to do that. So they understand, okay, that I'm not going away because of them. I'm going away because I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, that drives me, okay, that makes me happy, that makes me grow. That's what I want them to keep, okay, with them. Not like my mom was always working. My mom was always going
Right.
away because she had to work. If they say my mom was going away because she learned, because she teach, she helped people, okay? Things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. No, it's a great way to reframe it. And I think it is true. Like, just telling, I never want to tell my kids things like, oh, I have to work to pay the bills. I have to, like, that's true.
That's
We
true.
need to make money to pay the bills, but like, I want them to understand that like, that's not the main driver behind it. And it's yeah, I think just such valuable lessons. And really that like you say, like, passing it on to them, and kind of letting them know this is really why we do it. It's such a powerful message. Vanessa, when people hear this and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
They can come to my website. Okay, it's venuspartners.com. They can follow me on Instagram as well, and just message me. Is Vanessa Venus Capital, and the website is venuspartners.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about AI, or how you can use AI in order to save some time, or if you're an entrepreneur, even if you, for your regular life, how do you use it? I do have a few resources on my website. You go to venuspartners.com to the ebook section, and then you have some ebooks and you can download and check out and learn some stuff. And then you can contact me there or Instagram.
Great. And we'll put all of that in the show notes. Well, this has been amazing. I could keep talking. We'll have to get you back on another time, so I don't take up your whole day. But I really appreciate having you on. I think people will really get a ton of value out of this. And just, again, we talked a lot about family, but there's a reason for that. I think it ties in so vitally to what it means to be an entrepreneur for a lot of us. So just thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing everything you did. I truly enjoyed it.
This was very, very exciting, and I really had a great time talking about family. I'm happy to come back anytime and talk about more about how our kids will take everything that we do, and they see everything that we do. And I think that as an entrepreneur, we're teaching them really, really valuable lessons to our kids. And you don't see that, but they're very proud of us on the things that we do and the way that we do things. So that makes
100%.
me really happy. Thank you so much, Jason, for this incredible time.
Absolutely. Folks listening, make sure you connect with Vanessa. And please like, rate, and review the show so we can get more great guests. And as always, thank you all for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?